South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a South Point offers all the types of entertainment you'd expect at a first-class Las Vegas resort. Did you know our 400-seat showroom is one of Las Vegas's top destinations for live entertainment? Enjoy live performances by classic Vegas entertainers, bands, and today's hottest comedians, plus a rockin' dance floor. You can also enjoy live entertainment at the Grand View Lounge, where you'll feel all the vibes of old Las Vegas. Enjoy the music, and if you love to laugh, don't miss The Dirty at 12:30, our very own free comedy show, every Friday night at 12:30 a.m. in the Grand View Lounge. The Dirty is 100% free, so arrive early. Go to southpointcasino.com or call the box office at 77136 for today's performances at the showroom and the Grand View Lounge. When you're ready for your favorite cocktail, stop in and unwind at one of our 7 specialty lounges. There's a bar around every corner, because you're in Vegas, baby. South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Good afternoon. Welcome in. It is Free Throw Friday on Sports by the Book afternoon show. I'm Jeff Parles, Chris Andrews alongside. We're somewhat matching here today.
Yeah, this is an old South Point shirt, and I pulled it out of the closet.
I was going to say, I haven't seen that color
it's an old one
in a while. It looks good.
I've been here 8 years. You know.
I know that
it's going to be 9 years. I'm sorry. It's 9 years now.
I know the gear flips over in the gift shop over just a few paces due past Jimmy's home for a good chunk of some days, Chris.
Of course, yeah. Of course. The spa. Interesting note about the gift shop. Well, 2 interesting notes I want to make.
Please.
First of all, Jimmy's shirt.
Yes.
So many people request it. Michael Gahn will not allow it to be sold in the gift shop. It's for Jimmy only. And the other thing, we're going to have Sonny Vaccaro's book will be available in the gift shop.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have like 100 copies or something like that. So if you want a book, come on down to South Point. Especially during the tournament, we tried to get Sonny in, but he said he just can't travel right now. But we'll have books available in the gift shop.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I did a little bit of reading before we had him on last week, but I'm going to really fully dive in.
I read the whole thing in like 4 sittings. You know, it's very readable.
I'm sure it's a pretty fun read.
It's a fun read,
to put it politely. Joining us in about 8 minutes from now, someone you've known for a long while, and
I've known him probably for about 20 years or so. You know, and we've kept in touch. Actually, Sonny Vaccaro introduced us at an AAU tournament many years ago. And Matt Furjanic, Coach Furjanic, coach at my old high school, coach at my old alma mater. So we have a pretty good connection. And he's a great guy. And he's, Jeff, just one of those basketball lifers. And we just want to hear, he's been watching some basketball. We just want to hear his take on the upcoming tournament.
On his other team got eliminated last night, Marist.
He spent a lot of years at Marist, too.
Yeah, made the NCAA tournament at both stops as well at Robert Morris and Marist, of course. Those are both olds. The old before when the NEC was before it was a D1. It was the old SCAC, right? Right.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what it says here, at least in front of me.
Do you have his Wikipedia page?
Yeah, that's where I'm.
What's his career record? It's like 600 and 400 or something like that.
At the D1, at the Robert Morris Marist level, 109 and 95. It was about 105 games over 500 in Polk State.
Yeah, he coached all over the place. Yeah. high school, everything.
600 win percentage career.
Yeah, pretty good.
606. All right, let's get into some games, though, before we bring Coach Furjanic on. I want to start in the Big Ten, Chris. So far, chalk by the numbers have prevailed today. Both favorites covering. Michigan State, they got a little sweaty there if you laid it, but they still covered, winning by 6. Wisconsin, there was no sweat.
Early on, that game was over early.
Wisconsin in this game, it's 86-70 to final, just went final in Indianapolis. Was 19 of 32 from 3. It's pretty good.
Yeah. It's better than we saw the other night.
Oh, well, only 19 times made threes by Wisconsin alone there, Chris. But a big, nice win for Wisconsin. So the later games tonight, we start with Maryland and Illinois. That begins in about 90 minutes from now. Mm-hmm. Illinois and Iowa set the record for most points in a Big Ten tournament game yesterday. Even 200 in that game. Illinois covers, winning by 12. Maryland double bye to this spot. Terps, I'm a little bit surprised at how short the Terps are in this game. And I am going to be on Maryland here, Chris.
Yeah, they haven't bet Maryland.
They haven't bet anything in this game.
Really. I'm looking. We opened 1-59. We're still at 1-59, and I was trying to chart some stuff before we came on the air, and we don't have any action here. But I'm kind of like you. I think Illinois has been a pretty good team, but I thought Maryland would be. I was thinking like about 3 or something like that, but evidently we were wrong. Well, at least until we see the final. Betting wise, they haven't touched this side, and I thought they would.
Yeah, we'll see what happens over the next 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Again, I'm a little bit surprised by this. Not surprised by the next game. The 6 seed Purdue favored over the 3 seed Michigan. Yeah. They split the 2 regular season meetings. Purdue won large at West Lafayette. Michigan did what Michigan does best, win close games in the second game. Again, all of Michigan's wins since their win against Washington all the way back on January 12th, Chris, the Michigan Wolverines since then have won 9 times, and they've all been by 4 points or less.
Is that right?
Yeah. 9 wins by 4 points or less. Mixed in there, they have 6 losses, and all but 2 of them are by 15 or more points. So it's either...
Looks like a good game to tease.
Oh, boy. Wow. Basketball teasers.
We have them here at the South Point, let me tell you.
It's, look, I like Purdue. Purdue really kind of struggled the last night. That USC Rutgers 11-14 was the underachievement bowl. Both of those teams were super talented. USC won that in double overtime. USC had a shot to win the game yesterday. They ended up losing by 5 in a really routine cover. But this is right. Even with Michigan being the quote-unquote better seed, Purdue is the better team and the correct favorite on the neutral.
Well, we're pretty much at the opening numbers. We opened 2.5 47.5 or 2.5 47. But this game's actually got some action. We've been up and down on the
two-way
on the point spread. Yeah, so two-way action. As long as it doesn't come 2, I think we're okay on this one. Good action on this, and this should be a good game. Really should.
I know Vinny is Professor Vinny today.
Vinny's Professor Vinny.
Yes, yeah. But Chris said that. I didn't say that. As long as it didn't land that certain number, I didn't say that. It wasn't me today. I'm not rooting for it. All right. I want to hit Duke and North Carolina before the coach comes on. Cooper Flagg is not going to play tonight unless there's something surprising. It would be silly of Duke to do that. They are locked into the number 1 in the East. There's really no difference between the number 1 overall seed and the number 2 overall seed. And Chris, we saw this matchup in Chapel Hill last weekend, and we talked about it. It was 12.5.
Yeah.
In Chapel Hill, Duke covered. Now, without Flagg on a neutral, where it is as pure of a neutral as you're going to get in Charlotte with these 2 teams, it's 7, and it's 152.5 right now here at the South Point.
Malik, what's his name? I'm sorry. I'm terrible with the names for Duke.
He's out as well.
Another big kid, about 6'9".
Dislocated the shoulder again.
Yeah, so he's out too. If I was out there betting, I'd probably look to bet on North Carolina, but I'd hope to get a little bit more bang for my buck. 7's, kind of a little low. I was thinking this game might be like around 8.5, something like that. If I was, if I was out handicapping, I mean, you never know what those 2 guys mean to the number, because actually Duke played very well once those two guys went out yesterday.
Yes.
I mean, listen, it's still Duke, and they're a good team, and they're well coached, and all that other stuff. So, but I would probably like to bet North Carolina, but like I said, I'd want more than 7, certainly, even more than 7.5 that we open.
This is an epically important game for North Carolina.
Yeah.
If North Carolina wins, even without flag, they're going to be in the field that's announced on Sunday afternoon.
So, yeah.
If they lose, sweaty over the next 48 hours.
They'd be lucky to make it to Dayton if they lose.
You know what, Chris? All I'll say is it's North Carolina.
I know.
I think they're going to find a way to put them in, even though I don't think they deserve to be there.
Carolina, Kansas, they usually get overseeded, that sort of thing. And, well, they're going to test it this year. Kansas isn't very good, but they'll be in the tournament. Carolina, I think, is touch and go.
And then one more game here in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
The 18-2 bowl in conference, Clemson and Louisville. Neither team covered yesterday.
Yeah.
Louisville wanted the buzzer on a Chucky Hepburn buzzer beater. Clemson and SMU played a total slugfest.
Right.
57-54, Clemson wins. I actually think this number is good now that it's been bet to 2.
Well,
with that said, I don't
not only the number good, this is a really good game.
Important game,
too. Yeah, this is a good game. 2 tough teams. I think they were second and third.
They were.
In the ACC, kind of jockeying between those two positions. So this, I think, is a really, really good game. And, going to be a nightcap in the ACC and 6:30 start here. We have a couple games later than that, but this is probably the biggest late game that we're going to have tonight.
There are a lot of great games tonight. Obviously, when you get this deep in the conference tournaments, you got Big East semis at MSG. We'll get to that later. You have Big 12.
Yeah.
Somehow you had seed chalk in that tournament yesterday.
Yeah, I'm looking at Arizona and Texas Tech. I mean, that's a hell of a game, too. What's the number?
2.
Tech 2.
2.
That's a great late game. And some of the other ones, the West Coast games, listen.
And West is fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to. Listen, you could bet on them and watch them, then that makes it exciting.
Well, that's a nice Midnight Eastern projected tip for the final game, so you'll be up late.
I'm so glad we're out here. We'll ask Coach Furjanic how that is staying up till a midnight tip-off. I see he's got his Robert Morris shirt on, too. So,
Chris, all I'll tell you is this is the best time zone for watching sports, and it's not even remotely close.
Yeah, and even, Hawaii's a little too early.
No, that's too early.
Yeah,
that's too early. Yeah. It's either the Pacific time zone or the Mountain time zone. They're the only ones that have arguments. At least that's my opinion. All right, we'll take a quick break. Coach Matt Furjanic will join us next. We will talk. We'll talk a lot of college hoops. Also, Robert Morris, of course, in the NCAA tournament. When we get back, Sports by the Book, Free Throw Friday.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in. It's Free Throw Friday here on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles. He is Chris Andrews, the sportsbook director here right behind us. Full boat behind us today.
We got a big crowd. We've had a big crowd last couple of days, yeah.
Well, it's the Wishnev Invitational. What do you want there, Chris?
Let's not go too far.
All right, we're gonna now bring in. He coached at Robert Morris. He coached at Marist College. He coached Pitt Greensburg, Polk State College, and General Braddock High School.
General Braddock.
General Braddock High
Coach,
School.
I forgot about that. Anyway, let's say hello to Matt Furjanic.
Yes.
Coach Furjanic.
Coach Matt Furjanic with us right now. Yes, good.
And at Woodland Hills, Chris and I are both. Both of our schools now merged into one. So
Exactly. Coach, I want to start. I didn't realize you coached at General Braddock. Did you coach under Zilko?
No, Zilko was before me.
Oh, okay.
Zilko was North Braddock Scott. When I got the job, Paul Birch was the coach when they merged the three schools.
Okay, I remember that well, too.
I was an assistant and then a head coach.
All right, let's get into college here, Coach. Robert Morris, obviously, you've been following him all year. Andy, you said, did a terrific job with the portal and everything. What do you think? First of all, where do you think they're going to be seeded, and what do you think their chances are?
From what I read, it looks like a 15 seed, but maybe they can move up to a 14. Just the way they played, entering the conference, they've been on a roll. They play great defense. They have 5 guys that can score, so you can't lay off really anybody. And you have the Fulgueras, the sophomore that was a conference player of the year. I saw him play last year, and I'm wondering, what point would he be an impact player? And he just came on this year on fire. So, and then they got some good guards, and the guards had, great years, and Fulgueras was the only returning regular. So, Andy, Coach Toole did a great job in the transfer portal. He brought the players in he needed. And the key to it, when you bring the players in from the transfer portal, you have to make sure they're the right character players is going to buy into your system and buy into the style of play you want to play and give the commitment on defense and not any individual glory. And he got the right players to do that. And it was just a terrific year following them.
I got to tell you, I got them penciled in as 14. So, I don't know. Like I said, they had a terrific year all season. It's not like they pulled this huge upset to win the conference. They got the player of the year in the conference. I think they're a legit team. Now, okay, so you're a 14, you're going to be playing a 3. I don't know who's going to be on the 3 line. But, we see that upset every year. We see a 14 beat a 3 almost. I don't want to say every year, but we've seen it often enough.
Last year, remember in Pittsburgh, we saw a 15 Oakland beating a 2 Kentucky.
Yeah.
So, anything can happen. There's something that happens after the major college tournaments. Teams play 4 days in a row. They're worn out. And all of a sudden, okay, we're playing in the NCAA now, but the first game is going to be a cakewalk. If players approach the game with that attitude, and then all of a sudden you have a team that's excited to get in, this is their one chance to, nationally, they just do all the little things with extra effort. Go for loose balls, help defense, rebound. All of a sudden, after the first 10 or 12 minutes, if a team is in the game, next thing you know, wow, this is going to be a close game all the way through.
Yeah, I think that's right. Jeff?
Coach, just want to ask you, before we get to this week, obviously there's still teams playing in these conference tournaments. I'm just curious, just when you get to this week, how do you handle a week like this, especially where you could be playing all over the map? You could be playing for your NCAA tournament lives. You could have stuff wrapped up. How does this week differentiate from basically any other week on the calendar for college hoops?
Well, you can look at it this way. You play 30 games a year, and maybe outside of 25 teams, whatever postseason hopes you have are going to be decided this week. So let's say there's approximately 350 Division I schools. Take out your top 30, at least 320 playing this week to get that one opportunity to play in the NCAA tournament. I think this week is more exciting than the NCAA tournament because you have kids playing for their lives. They want to, they dreamt of playing in the NCAA tournament. Like I said, if you take out the top 30, let's say 30, 35 teams, especially with the SEC this year, how many they're going to get into the tournament. But you have teams that want that one opportunity, that one chance to show that and create that memory for the rest of their lives and show what their team's all about, their teammates, their school. And I just think that's what creates the excitement of this week, getting into the tournament. You have hopes being made and you have a lot of dreams broken. So when those dreams are broken, you 365 days a year, I always said, no matter what you do as a coach, it's going to come down to the 30 games. Well, now it's 31 or 35 games, depending how you do in your conference tournament. So all the hopes and dreams you have all year, everything you work for, an individual, running, weightlifting, it all comes down to how you're going to finish this week. Also for seeding, there's still teams, end of the tournament, you never know, might sneak up into that number 1 seed, or a team number 2 may drop down to a number 3, like Chris said.
Coach, when you have, obviously you have a lot of young kids, do you find it best, so they're on this emotional level, do you let them run with that emotion, or do you try to calm them down a little bit to get their feet back on the ground?
The way I approached it when I coached, and even, my 17 years as a junior college coach in Florida, we had a region tournament every year. I always told the players, there's more pressure during the season than when the tournament comes. When the tournament comes, this is what you wanted to play. You wanted to play in March. March Madness, they always talk about. And our goal was to always have a game in March. Back in, when I was at Robert Morris and Marist, we would, there was pressure to win a conference tournament, or where you're going to finish in the tournament, who you're going to play. But once this week comes around, there's not a lot you're going to put in. You just want the players to remain focused. You want them to remain healthy. And I think you have to let them have a little bit of fun. You have to let them enjoy it. All the yelling you did all year, the halftime talks, the pregame talks, the practices the day after a loss, or the day you had a bad practice and you pull them aside, and you're really not going to yell at them this week. You don't want to put them down at all. You want them to rise to the occasion. And the only way they're going to do that is to be positive. And you have to talk positive. When we win the next game, when you make that shot, when we have the lead, if we're down by 5, this is how we're going to come back. All of that you do in practice preparation. So I think you might change maybe an out-of-bounds play, or adjust the play you did where maybe you're going to set a back screen. Well, maybe they might slip that in the tournament, during the tournament week this week, and even for the NCAA next week. So no matter what you do, though, everything is, out of the window this week. And then it happens again if you make the tournament. But there's more pressure in making the tournament this week than being in the tournament, unless maybe you're a 1 and 2 seed, and your school, especially because they're paying you $7-8 million a year, that they want to see a Final Four. But for most of the teams in the NCAA, I think this is the pressure week.
Well, no wonder you've had such a long career, Coach. I think that's great. I'm sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
Coach, I just want to ask you, just looking at these teams now, as you mentioned, obviously we talked about the SEC, but the SEC might get 14 bids.
Unbelievable.
Which
they might.
Texas is losing by 13 right now, but they may have done enough in Nashville this week. But coaches, you're just looking across the country. Obviously, you have your Dukes, your Auburns, your Houstons. Other than maybe those top teams, who stands out to you as a team that can make a deep run, push one of those top teams out of potentially of a Final Four?
I think one team I liked, and I liked them all year, was Illinois. They really started out the year, with a great November, December, and going into the conference. But, they slipped a little bit. But Brad Underwood does a great job. His teams played very good defense. Are they on a bubble? I'm looking at the sheets that I printed out.
They're going to be probably. They're going to probably be anywhere from a 6 to an 8 would be my guess, Coach.
Okay. If I had to look at one team, they're athletic, they can shoot, and it was unfortunate to coach against Brad when he was at Daytona State and I was at Polk State. But I've seen his teams play, and they play so hard. And, of course, there's a few others you might want to look at. I think Kentucky came on. Look at this Louisville team. You talk about getting excited for a tournament. They came out of nowhere. This coach in his first year, all of a sudden he worked the portal. And can you imagine how excited those players are? Well, that excitement raised you to another level than a team that, is expected to win. Purdue is always a tough opponent. The coach there does a great job. what are we going to do with UConn? You know, they were predicted to have maybe a three-peat in the Final Four, and they've had a tough year. So is Coach Hurley going to change his approach this week than what he had all year? I think he will. I think he's going to be very positive this week and get his players on the right track, and they're going to be focused. So there's so many intangibles you can take into play, but the key is going to be who makes a basket, who gets the rebounds, who gets the stops on defense. When it comes down to the last minute or two in the game, look at the DePaul game last night. I was watching them. They had a 9-point lead with a little over 2 minutes remaining and took some three-pointers and didn't get the ball into the paint after that. Next thing you know, Creighton comes back in overtime and wins. So you just don't know what's going to happen at the end of the game.
Coach, I want to ask you, when you look big picture and you're maybe trying to evaluate teams, what's the top things you're looking for? I mean, is it defense? Is it rebounding? Is it three-point shooting? Is it coaching? Well, where do you rank those sort of things as you evaluate a team?
The one thing I look at is defense. I want to see how many easy shots a team has given up. How many paint touches does their opponent get? Are players closing out high hands when they come defend on the three-point line? Or, maybe inside the three-point line. But you have to see, a lot happens when you see active hands. Active hands means you're talking. And talking is so important on defense. You see a lot of teams, and they'll play with their hands down. A lot of times when it happens, you don't see communication. I look at the teams who are most active on defense because I think they will get the most stops and force their opponent to shoot at a lower percentage. Some people look at three-point shooting. Some look at offensive, number of points they scored. I've always, since I was influenced by Tim Gergerich and then Bob Knight and Dick Harder, they instilled in me that defense is number one. And that's what I look at. How quick do you come back in transition? Do you give up transition baskets? Or when a shot is taken, do you have a couple players retreating on defense? It's all those little things that maybe a normal fan won't see because they're looking for the highlights, they're looking for who jumps the highest. I always look at who is competing hardest on defense. And I really believe that if you see active hands, that team is going to be more aggressive on defense. Their hands are up to deflect passes. Even now, you can talk. How many times do you see people talk with their hands down? Are they getting their point across? If you see a speaker giving a motivational speak or talking to a business on a stage, you see their hands up. You see motion in the hands. That's the same thing on playing defense. If you see a team with their hands down a lot, where the opponent is making easy passes into the post or passes, on pick and rolls, that's going to hurt a team defensively because that other team's going to get easy baskets. My high school coach, Paul Birch, used to tell me, if they got two hands, they're going to put it in the hoop. So we had to defend everybody. So I think if you look at the teams that got their hands active, they're playing the toughest on defense.
Real quick, even though we already knew this, Cooper Flagg's officially been ruled out.
Has he?
So,
okay.
No change in the number, Chris. Because
I think we thought he was going to be out.
Because everyone realized, why? Why would you even bother, even against North Carolina? So just wanted to throw that out there, Chris.
Yeah, okay. Coach, I'm glad you mentioned Timmy Gergerich. He lives here in Las Vegas, and he comes to see me and Jimmy Vaccaro at least 5-6 times a year. And sometimes he brings his buddies from the Dallas organization. And, remember he gave me a bunch of Mavericks shirts a couple weeks ago. And the next day they traded Luka Doncic. I guess I'm the black cat. I don't know. But anyway, it's great because Timmy, I've known Timmy for an awful long time. And, he's been just a defensive genius. And that's always, Timmy coached, he was like an outside counselor at some of our basketball camps when we were in high school and junior high. And, defense was always his thing. And, and he's still just a great guy. And, God bless him. He's terrific.
Yeah.
Coach, is there any other, I know you mentioned some of these schools that I think, Illinois is very interesting. I know they're playing Maryland today, and we talked about it before you came on the air. we were surprised that Maryland wasn't a bigger favorite today. But hearing your insights, now I could see where maybe a lot of smart people are on Illinois in this game.
I haven't seen Illinois play recently because down here in Pittsburgh, we get, of course, mostly the Big East games and the ACC. And but I just liked them when I saw them play in December and early January. Maryland, I mean, how you going to flip a coin the way you guys set the lines? I mean, for some reason, when you set a line, that game comes with 1 or 2 points. And I'm like, geez, one basket at the end. You play 39 minutes and 50 seconds, but whoever makes a basket in the last 10 seconds of the game is going to determine who wins their bet. So I don't know how you guys do it, but I'm always amazed at that.
We try. Coach, you mentioned the ACC. We got a terrific one tonight. Forget the Duke, North Carolina game. But we have Clemson and Louisville, 2 ACC teams, jockeyed for that number 2 slot all year. Do you have any insights in that one?
If I did, I'd call you later. But
you know my number.
The only thing I can say is they're 2 teams that are very well coached. I see excitement in this Louisville team. Mm-hmm. They just got hot as the year went on. How many more days are they going to ride that horse? I mean, they took players and molded them into this team. Now, Clemson did also. I'm not as familiar with their roster, but I was following this Louisville team all year because you're always thinking, how long is this going to last? Okay, it's mid-January. Well, when are they going to go down the standings in the ACC? And all of a sudden, end of January comes, beginning of February. Now here we are ending the second week of March, and next thing you know, Louisville's still up there battling for the ACC tournament. So Louisville is just intriguing to me. I don't know either coach, but it's always Clemson is historically good every year. Of course, so is Louisville, but Clemson has kept up in the ACC, and with Louisville recovering like they did, I'm excited to watch that game tonight. And I'm going to definitely be in front of my TV screen.
That should be a good one. All right, Coach, we're gonna let you get going right now. We're at the bottom of the hour. I have a message from Sonny Vaccaro, who I've talked to about 5 or 6 times in the last couple of days. He said he's going to be watching. Now, we both know Sonny. There's no way he could cue this up on his computer. He had to get his lovely wife, Pam, to cue it up. But he has been watching. I'm sure I'll hear from him afterwards. But anyway, told me to give you his regards.
Thank you, Chris. And I love Sonny, and we both know, there's no doubt he's got to get into that Naismith Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes.
How can you keep this guy out? You talk about all these coaches that are on the Hall of Fame board. If it wasn't for Sonny, they wouldn't be making the money they did over the years with the shoe contracts, with the way the game has changed. I mean, so many people, and Sonny, who had more of an impact on the game as a contributor? The whole basketball has changed, and of course, we both speak very highly of him and love him, and we know what he's done with the Dapper Dan Round Ball Classic in Pittsburgh for years. But I will say one thing in the book, and I'm going to send this video to Sonny also, Sonny and Pam, but I ordered the book. I haven't read it yet because my wife is reading it. And she'll say, hey, did you see this story about Sonny? I said, no, Rita, I didn't read it yet. I said, what about this story about? I said, Rita, you're reading the book, not me now, But we remember so many of those stories being in that inner circle with Sonny in those early years. I was fortunate that he put me on a shoe contract when I was an unknown coach at Robert Morris. And my wife and I were very lucky to go on the Nike trips. We have a lot of friends in coaching through that. And, Sonny was we know the heart that he has. And and your interview needs to get out more. I've been posting it. But that interview you did with Sonny was was the best one I've heard when he talks about his book, Legend and Soul. So kudos to you guys also.
Well, thank you very much. Coach, I got to tell you, we just let Sonny talk. And we both know Sonny can talk. So we just let him go.
I go pretty good at it, too.
You're not too bad, Coach. Not too bad. Yeah. All right, my friend. We'll stay in touch, and God bless you. Thank you so much for coming on.
One got to get this in.
Okay.
I'm going for Auburn for the national championship.
Ooh, okay. All right.
I have 2 granddaughters that go to Auburn, and I got this hat as a Christmas present.
Oh, God bless.
So
that's
they're
fantastic.
freshman and sophomore. They go to all the games, and I got to be an Auburn fan now.
Well, I'll tell you what, they got a hell of a shot. I don't know if they're going to win it, but they got to be right there. All right, my man. And I didn't wear my Robert Moore shirt. I wore it early. I wore it in the game that they won the other night. So it's in the wash right now. Otherwise, I'd have had it on. All right, pal. We'll stay in touch, buddy. All the best to you.
Thank
See you later.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Have a good time.
Coach Matt Furjanic, everyone. All right, we'll take a short break. When we get back, we got plenty of games to look at. Oh, boy. And we'll start in the SEC with two heavy-duty ones out of the chute in the nightcap there in Nashville. When we get back, Sports by the Book, Free Throw Friday.
That was great.
Welcome back in. It's Free Throw Friday on Sports by the Book. I'm Jeff Parles. He's Chris Andrews, Sportsbook Director here at the South Point. Just talked to former Robert Morris and Marist head coach Matt Furjanic. If you missed any of that, watch the rest of this show and then go back and watch it after we're done.
Yeah, and he's one of those basketball lifers. You know, we've seen him quite a bit, and great to get his insights on some of the things he looks at in a team and that sort of thing. Really, like I said, he's been coaching probably 45 years, probably more than that, with his complete resume.
It's over 600 career wins in his coaching staff.
That's a lot of wins.
That's a lot of wins. A lot of basketball games, too. Even without the amount of wins, that's a ton of games to be coaching, to say the very least. All right, we'll go to the SEC first here. Right now, there is a quarter still going. Oh, boy. Well, we're heading for a sweat at the end one way or another. Tennessee's up 11 with 7:25 to go as a 9.5-point favorite against Texas. So sweat on both sides, even though Vols look like they're going to move on, barring the fact that they don't blow a 12-point lead in 7 minutes. Auburn won earlier, but did not cover against Ole Miss, so we could be looking at chalk in games 1 and 2. Game 3 on the docket. We saw this matchup in Gainesville earlier in the year. Mizzou won at Florida by a point back in January, kind of before we didn't really know how good Mizzou was at that point.
We did not, no.
That was kind of the, we got to look at them differently.
Oh, you were a little biased,
Oh, I didn't think they were that good. Okay. I definitely did not have them winning that game earlier in the year. 8.5 now. This one's bounced a little bit, Chris.
Yeah.
8.5 with Florida, 162.5. A little bit of bouncing on both the total and the side here in this game.
Yeah, we've been up and down, but as of now, before I came on the air half an hour ago, we needed Florida in this one. We had a little bit more money on the dog here, and the total. Where am I at?
162.
Yeah, we needed under for a little bit, but not a huge decision there. But we definitely need a favorite there. It's funny, getting these tournaments, you get a lot of dog action, and it rightfully so. You could see a lot of these dogs show up and are playing for their lives. Now, I'm not sure Missouri's playing for their life, but they're certainly playing for a seed.
The win beat Florida twice.
Yeah.
You move up a seed line because of something like that.
I mean, Florida, I guess you could say they're playing for a seed, too. They'd love to get that fourth number one seed, but I don't think they're locked into that.
No, I think the way, again, at this point, Auburn we know is going to be number one seed. We know Duke's going to be number one seed. I think it's safe to say Houston's going to be a number one seed at this point. Florida, Tennessee, and Alabama, who are, of course, all in the same conference. Yeah. I think they're all playing for that fourth number one, mostly because Florida and Alabama both have wins over Auburn, and Tennessee's been pretty darn consistent. So, and they'll get a crack at Auburn tomorrow. So, boy, what a tournament this is there in Nashville. And a nightcap tonight after almost an epic blowing of the game by Kentucky yesterday, up 11 with 90 seconds left. They need a way to bail them out at the end to win by 1 against Oklahoma. They get another crack at Bama. Bama has won both meetings, Chris, and Bama's controlled both meetings so far this year. This just might be one of those matchups for Kentucky that is just not particularly good.
Yeah, and the money's on Bama. And you just went through the reasons why. So the money is on Bama. The total hasn't moved, but I'm pretty sure that's the highest total of the weekend with these two. There might be others that are going to be right up there, but this should be a terrific game. Kentucky does definitely, when they're healthy, They have a lot of the horses. I know Vinny's been on them quite a bit this year. His lovely wife is from right around that area, so he follows that Kentucky program pretty closely. But this should be a good game. But right now, I mean, like I said, if they were to tip off right now, I most certainly would need Kentucky in this game.
179.5, I don't think is enough, personally. Yes.
Like I said, it's the highest total of the weekend, and
I don't think it's enough.
I wouldn't run to the counter to bet under.
No, that you can't bet unders in Bama games. Like, of course, there's going to be unders, like naturally, but you don't want to. It's not a fun way to be spending your Friday night chasing home and under on a Bama game.
You're going to be sweating for 40 minutes of game time. That's for sure.
Yeah. All these teams are going to be in the NCAA tournament, and you're going to have the opportunity to watch them here at the South Point. Of course, the best party there is here in Las Vegas, upstairs. You park your car for free, you park your ass for free, right, Chris?
Yes,
that's what we say. Free parking, free entry. As good of a setup as there is anywhere, Vegas or not Vegas. Upstairs, free. Cheap drinks. Look at the pricing on the drinks. Come on. I mean, you get six beers for $20. You can't find that in this town anymore, except for here at the South Point. So be here. You'll have betting stations upstairs as well, so you don't have to keep going up and down, up and down. You also have kiosks as well up there, right, Chris?
Kiosks. Actually, this year, we're going to have more betting stations upstairs than we do down here in the sports. We've charted it.
It's a bigger crowd up there.
Yeah, listen, that we outwrote even with, it's like 9, I think, down here and 10 up there, and then kiosks are about the same. But let me just say, one year I was not in the business, at least professionally. I was in Denver, and my daughter and I, we went to the first round games in Denver. And then we went to the second round games in Denver, and it was a great experience. It was fantastic. It's not as good as being in Las Vegas. I can tell you right now.
Correct.
It's just not quite as good. It's great, fantastic. If that's all you can do, God bless. But if you have a chance to come here, this is better.
Game started 9:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
They go to about 9:45, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
It's great. It's the best. It's the best there is. It's the best.
We have that breakfast burrito. I'm sure you'll be all over that one, Jeff.
Man, I don't know about the breakfast burrito this year because of the timing of our show. I might have to start down here and then make my way up.
Okay.
Meatball sub, different story there, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
But we'll see how we'll see how these games, these bracket play out.
There's beer specials, and we have a free throw shooting contest, and just everything. It's really a terrific setup.
Frank will claim that he was not in the best capacity to make free throws last year. I'm not buying it. That's all I'll say. Not buying it.
Is he ever in the best capacity to make free throws? I hear a couple of laughters back there.
I didn't say it. That was Chris, guys. No, I'm kidding. All right, let's go to the American Athletic. One game in progress. Tulane's got a 5-point lead as a seed favored, but a betting underdog against FAU. So 5-point lead at the under 12. There's 2 games tonight at Dickies Arena. The first one is we just went from the highest total on the board. We now go to one of the lower totals we'll see this week. With North Texas, we know how they play. They grind you out. They take 27 seconds to shoot the ball, and they play an extraordinarily good defense. They take on Tulsa, who actually kind of a surprise yesterday. Came from behind, beat Temple. 13 and 126 on this game, Chris.
Actually, they bet me over a little bit on this game. So, a low number, 125. But before we go on, I want to say, did anybody watch that Wichita-Memphis game? Yeah, that was actually a hell of a game. And
nice cover by Wichita.
Yeah,
Wichita looked like they were going to blow the cover.
It looked like they were going to blow the cover, and then for a while there, I thought they had a chance of beating Memphis. I thought that, which probably would have disappointed a lot of some of the seeds that are just hanging around there, because I think Memphis is in regardless.
Correct.
But if they get knocked out of this tournament, obviously one of these other teams are going to get in their stead. So, but anyway, the Tulsa game, I got little bit of money on Tulsa with a big number. Opened at 13.5. We're down to 13. They bet me over. So a value kind of play, taking a big number with a low total. Even though they bet me over, it's still 126. That's pretty freaking low.
Very low.
Yeah, so taking points in a game that figures to be that low scoring, I think, is probably the smart play. Of course, they don't always cover like that, but it's probably the smart play.
Yeah, I have no feel. Tulsa's pretty bad. North Texas, not far travel from Denton down to Fort Worth, so it's not too bad on them. And you're right on Memphis. If Memphis does not get the auto bid, someone on the bubble's not going.
Right.
North Texas and UAB, the most logical teams to get in, need to win this tournament.
Yeah.
Again, I actually picked North Texas to win this tournament beforehand.
We got some money on Memphis to win the tournament. So
a little plus money on that Memphis side.
I'm trying to root against them a little bit. So.
Mean Green or Blazers would be fine with you, I would say. And the Blazers 5.5 against ECU tonight with a total of 150.5. I said this yesterday morning. When I've been involved in an ECU game, I don't get it right, so I'm not touching this game. For whatever reason, there are teams every year I can't figure out. It's been all year. I have no idea what to do with ECU. So staying away from
I got
this.
money on the favorite here and a little bit of money on the under. And so that's that's a 6:30. So I was thinking of one of those 8:30 games, but it's only 6:30.
Going to the MAC with 1A, not 2, with 1A. Toledo and Akron going on right now in Cleveland. Akron's up 7 at 37-30. High total. That total ended up closing 163.5 for that one, the number 1 seed. And to me, the clear best team in that league, the Zips. See if they hold, again, right around the number right now. The other game, as you see in the bottom of the screen right now, Miami of Ohio, a 4-point underdog, the 2 seed against Kent State, a total of 145 here on this one. You've taken some favored money here, Chris.
Yeah, when we came on, we were at 3.5. So evidently, somebody bet me in the last 45 minutes or so. So a little late money on the favorite in this one. The total, where am I at? Total, we got bet a little bit on the over, 1 point move, so nothing too dramatic.
Now we go to, we'll hit the MAC with 2 A's,
MAC.
with 2 A's right now before we get into the big boys on the East Coast and Kansas City here, Chris. Mm-hmm. The MAC with 2 A's, you got Iona and Quinnipiac, 1 seed.
Quinnipiac,
the number 1 seed, QU.
Okay. Where'd you learn to pronounce that? From Frank Nicotero?
Well, Quinnipiac. That's how I've always heard it in New Jersey. So,
that's a Jersey accent. But go ahead.
4.5 here, Chris, with a total of 145.
I really didn't have too much action on this game. Just a little bump on the over, but nothing major here.
And then the other one, big line here with a super low total.
Yeah.
Again, Merrimack, we know they want to just grind. Yesterday, 2 days ago, they needed overtime to beat Sacred Heart. Mount St. Mary's pretty well controlled that game against Marist, even though they only won by 4. 9, right now, Chris, you guys are actually peaking the market on this game. There's a lot of 8.5 out there right now, and 125.5.
Well, there's another interesting one, but they bet me the favorite here and the under. Again, a relatively big point spread of 9. Relatively low total of what we open at 126.5. We're down to 125.5. So, kind of an odd combination of betting the favorite and the under with that low of a total and that big of a point spread. But, obviously it does happen, and we'll see if it happens tonight.
Now we go to the Big East. We go up I-95 from AC to NYC.
And these are great games.
These are, again, this first one, we saw this matchup less than a week ago in Milwaukee. St. John's won on a basket at the buzzer to win by 2 as an underdog in that game. Now, of course, at MSG, a crack to win 3 against Marquette this year is a 3.5-point favorite, Chris. Total 145. Marquette needed a big comeback yesterday to beat Xavier down 14 in the second half. Come back, win it. St. John's dominated. Didn't have to expend much in beating Butler a day ago.
Well, it was a great game. Great betting game. Probably the most action that we've had on any game so far. Ooh. Well, for the evening.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of action. I mean, and look at this matchup. It's a great game. Marquette and St. John's, two basketball schools with great traditions, 2 fantastic coaches. They're playing in Madison Square Garden. Yep. I mean, I just heard some of the kids saying, kids, I mean, I know I grew up with Madison Square Garden being the mecca of basketball, but even these young kids think the same thing, which I think is, God bless them. So anyway, this is the game right now that's taking on more action than anything else. So I'm really looking forward to this one. And I've mentioned it before. I met Rick Pitino. I was at like a dinner, and I wound up talking to him for like 10 minutes. And I've been rooting for him ever since. He treated me really well, and God bless him. I'm rooting for him.
And then the second game on the board. By the way, I don't have anything on that game. I want to see
tough game. Yeah.
I want to see how everybody looks.
Oh, by the way, a lot of money on the over in that game.
That I'm not surprised by.
A lot of money in the over.
Even though St. John's, again, great defense, not great offense, but they play fast. And Marquette and Xavier are still scoring from yesterday's game. So 145 on that. Well, nightcap, Creighton needed 2 overtimes to beat DePaul yesterday. And quite frankly, shouldn't have even gotten into overtime. DePaul should have won the game of regulation.
Yeah, Coach Furjanic mentioned that game, how they blew that. Yeah.
And then UConn, dominant second half, winning by 17 against Villanova. Huskies are 4 and 139.5. As always in these conference tournament games, how does the team that played the extra minutes look the following day is always the question.
Yeah.
Because this feels a little steep to me with getting 4 with Creighton.
I was surprised it was that high, I got to tell you. I guess probably power rating wise, comes to about there, maybe a little lower, but people love Connecticut. I mean, why not? They're the 2-time defending champions. I think they feel that when the money's on the table, they're going to play really well. I don't have much movement in this game. I got a decent amount of action, but not any movement really. We're at the openers of both the side and the total. But there's another good one. It's going to be fairly late, 6:00 start out here on the West Coast, and it should be a great game. And I got to tell you, I love Big East basketball. Grew up with it. Kind of disappeared for a couple years, but then when they reformed, and I really like the way they play basketball, and having the finals in Madison Square Garden. I think that just says it all for me.
Well, and UConn going back after that foray into the AAC also really helped things. Yeah. As well in that conference. Now for some Midwestern heavy-duty basketball, Big 12 action here. Somehow we had Seed Chalk advance yesterday, even though BYU was an underdog against Iowa State. That game was unbelievable shot-making in a game played in the mid-90s yesterday with BYU winning 96-92. Houston did not come close to covering yesterday against Colorado. Never really...
No,
as a huge favorite, never really had it, but still won. Now it's 7 here with BYU and Houston. Of course, the Cougs favored in this one, 134.5. First matchup between these teams, Houston housed them, but it was all the way back on January 7th.
Yeah,
totally different BYU team today.
Absolutely, I love the way this BYU team is playing. No. Now I don't know, maybe they're a little bit older. A lot of those kids have gone on missions. And, doesn't use up their eligibility. I don't know if that has something to do with it, but BYU has really come on the last, Jeff, maybe 6 weeks, a little less than that?
So BYU right now has a 9-game winning streak, which is top 10 in the nation for longest winning streaks. They were squarely on the bubble after a loss to Cincinnati by 18 points on February 8th. They have not lost since. They've won 9 in a row.
Yeah, I love the way they're playing right now, and Houston, we've had a little bit of money show on BYU in this game. I could see why. Where's the total? Total, a little bit of money on the under also in this game. But I tell you what, listen, I've talked about Houston. You and I disagreed. You said that Houston kind of snuck up on teams. I said, well, not really. I've had my eye on them for a while. But I think it's a tough matchup for Houston tonight. I think BYU is very much a live dog, and we've gotten bet on them. And like you said, they got the longest winning streak in the country. Well, I'll tell you what, Houston's going to have their hands full tonight. I don't know if they could blow a 1 seed. I don't think they can, even if they lose this one. So maybe the pressure's off Houston. Never know how that's going to affect the team. But I think BYU is very much alive in this game.
It might be the difference between having a shorter flight or a longer flight to your destination for the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. Now, Auburn's locked to go to Atlanta. Duke is locked to go to Newark. Indianapolis would be closer than San Francisco to Houston. So that's where we're looking at right now with the Cougs. The other game, Texas Tech and Arizona, another really good matchup. Split the regular season series, these teams. 2, just got bet to 1.5 as well.
Oh, really?
Not here at another shop, but
I know it was 2 when I came on the air.
You're starting to see some money here, at least at some other shops on Arizona.
Well, it's a tough game. I think this should be a real good game. I really have no opinion. Like I said, we got bet a little bit on the under. Other than that, we've had a little bit of action on the favorite actually here. But no big decision as of this point. But that, there's another. There's a whole list of terrific games, and this is certainly one of them.
Shout out to our guy Sean Higgs watching us right now with a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Sean. Some money in our pocket, so we appreciate that. The New Jerseyan who is no longer in New Jersey.
That's I know. Boy, it sounds like he's a New Jerseyan, though, doesn't he? I think he's living in Texas now. Is that right?
I believe so, but I'm not 100%.
He never lost that accent, though, Sean, so okay.
Yeah, we appreciate you, Sean. Thank you, as always. All right, by the way, no play on Texas Tech, Arizona for me, in-game scenario, because Texas Tech was not the same. Texas Tech made 12 threes in the first half yesterday against Baylor and just held on for dear life and won by 2. So we'll see where that shooting variance flips in. All right, going back up the board here, you can flip your page around, Chris, because we're going 8-11, 8-12. Because Dayton and St. Joe's is the only game left on the board in the 8-10. Chalk prevailed in the first 2 games. VCU won and covered. Loyola won and covered. GW's up 6 at halftime on George Mason right now. So in a super duper override game right now, 78 first half points in that one. Now
that was another great betting game, by the way.
People bet the heck out of George Mason, and they're losing right now. Yeah. I know that. Dayton and St. Joe's. St. Joe's, I actually thought was the dark horse in this tournament coming in. Really good numbers in the way of the analytics community. Dayton's coming off a monster win against VCU. This tournament really, VCU is by margin better than everybody else, but this is an interesting game here tonight with the Hawks as a 1.5-point dog against the Flyers.
Another really good betting game, 2-way action on this one. Even though the number dropped a little bit, we're actually a little bit high on the favorite here. So, like I said, pretty good betting game. 2.5-point move to the under. Went from 43.5 to 41. As I said, that's one and it's still the same I can see now. But a real good betting game, and add this to the list of great games tonight.
A lot of high-end games here tonight, to say the very least.
We got a full room, and you can see why.
Well, I would say yesterday is probably my favorite conference tournament weekday, just because games are going legitimately all day. The quality is the best today, though. Because most of these high-end leagues are in the semis. There's enough good teams playing in the quarters in the SEC and the Big Ten. Yeah. But the quality today is pretty darn good.
Yeah, you see a couple double-digit spreads, but not many. Not many.
Very rare. We'll get to 2 of them in a moment because they're in the same conference. But that's not just yet. We start in the WAC because now we're in all the Vegas area tournaments to end here.
Okay.
Seattle and Utah Valley, the 1 seed, the Wolverines of UVU. Seattle won yesterday. This is a tight line, 1v5, 3, Chris, with a total of 134 in this game.
A little bit of money on Utah Valley in this game. I almost wore my Seattle shirt today because
Elgin Baylor
went there, and the hotel I stay at when I go to Seattle is right across the street from their campus. It's a beautiful campus, too. They don't have a great athletic tradition, but they do have Elgin Baylor. You can never take that one away from them. But no opinion in this game, but a little bit of money showed on the favorite here.
Yeah, I would only look to the favorite, but not strong enough to get into the card here today. I do like this favorite, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is number dependent across the city because we're all over the map. You guys are high water mark on Grand Canyon at 8.5. Yeah. There's some 7.5. There's some 8 in the market as well. I like the favorite at all numbers personally.
Yeah, so. I don't want to say I even have an opinion in this game, but we did open at 7.5. We're up to 8.5, so we had some money. Money showed on the favorite in this game. This is going to be that's an 8:30 start. So. Get even or get even worse game for that one. So.
You got a few of those here tonight.
We do
Chris.
have a couple.
You got a bunch of late tip-offs out here in Vegas. Not as many as there used to be because we miss you, Pac-12. We'll see you again.
We do miss you, Pac-12.
We'll see you in 2027 here in Vegas. All right, Big West. This is by some been dubbed the most important Big West tournament ever because a legitimate shot at getting multiple bids here, at least for a modern era thing. UC San Diego, who, look, if they don't win this conference tournament, they should be an at-large with looking what the at-large field is.
You think so?
100%.
Okay.
I just don't know if they have the wins in order for the committee to put them in. But eye test-wise, Oh, they're clearly.
Yeah, sometimes West Coast basketball gets overlooked a lot, though.
They're good. They're 11 tonight against Santa Barbara, who actually has looked as good as they have all year these last 2 games. A nice little upset over CSUN yesterday. Not surprising. This is 11, Chris, with a total of 138.5.
Yeah, this one we opened 10. They bet me the favorite, and they also bet me the under 41.5, not a 38.5 on this game. So a little bit of money on the favorite, a little bit of money, actually a decent amount of money on the under in this game.
And then the nightcap, Cal Poly, who going into their first conference win of the year had not won a conference game in over 3 years, is now here in the semifinals with 2 conference tournament wins. Their first conference win in almost 3 years came against Long Beach on January 25th. They were 0-8 going into that game in conference play. Since then, they're 10-4. They're playing great ball, and they get an Irvine team that I think is also of NCAA tournament quality. But again, this is another one, tough hill to climb for these underdogs, favored getting bet here again.
Yeah, once again, I think you may have a point as far as quality of the team. Just wonder if the committee tends to overlook West Coast teams, which I think they do. We're at the same opener, 10.5, but we did get bet on the over here. Open 55.5, we're up to 59, and another one of the 8:30 starts. Get even or get even worse. This will be on ESPN 2.
And then we get the get even worse one on the last game, but the first game just down the road with us from Thomas and Mack. 4-seed Boise State, 1-seed New Mexico. For Boise, this is your whole season. You got the win against San Diego State. Keep yourself alive. Now you got to find a way to at least make the Mountain West title game. Mm-hmm. And if it's Colorado State, you're going to have to probably win it. 1.5, 147, Chris. I thought this number's too short, but I get the desperation factor with Boise State here.
Yeah, a little bit of money for the favorite, though. Yeah. We opened 1, we're up to 1.5. The total, a little bit of a play on the under, open 48.5. We're down to 47. So not a big decision at this point, but you know how these late games tend to be. Guys, first of all, a lot of guys bet them because they are looking to get even or get even worse, like I said, but also a lot of stuff gets funneled into that last game, parlays and that sort of thing. So this will be a decision for us. Now, I'll be awake for this one. I don't know if I'll be awake for the end of the next one that we're going to talk about.
My eyes right now, real quick, Chris. We got legitimately a buzzer beater chance to cover for Texas. No, they threw it away. All right, Tennessee covers in that one, Chris. Lands 11. Lands 11. 9.5. Yeah, so favorite. It covers in that one. But let's get this last one here before we get out of here, Chris. Okay. Colorado State, Utah State. It's a good old-fashioned pick-em to end the night with a total of 145.
Money on the dog, a little bit of money on the dog, quite a bit of money on the under. It's a 4-point move to the under. So a lot of guys with the opinion that this thing is going to be a dog fight, and that's what we got.
Well, we are not getting out of here just yet.
Here
he comes. Jimmy, come on in. Come on right in. Got your mic set up for you and everything already. Jimmy Vaccaro is joining us right here on the show. You're going to be right. You're going to be in the Vicenz seat here.
Okay.
Hood on.
You can do it. Yeah, you can do whatever you like, Jimmy.
You're Jimmy Vaccaro. You do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. Okay. These guys back here, everything okay? Need anything? See him.
Oh, very good. Very good.
I got to have a little call out. Vishnook and Gill are here.
Yeah.
Vishnook and Gill. Oh, Vishnook's from Squirrel Hill, Pennsylvania.
Exactly. Same street as I live.
Same street as he.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Whiteman Street.
Okay.
And they had a club called the Beacon Club, and more money went through the Beacon Club than they did in Las Vegas. That I can't tell you.
Yeah.
And here we are after all these times. Okay, can I start this off?
Please. Yeah. Please.
Well, where's the money?
I gave you $1, Jimmy.
We'll talk to Mr. God for the rest.
I'll take it. You know what it is now? Me and Chris were talking earlier on how things have changed, what's going on, and Robert Morris won a game. And,
yeah.
I mean, but what it is now, what I picked up on it, even though we haven't gotten here yet, we're at the conference tournaments, but the point spreads on these games have shrunk so much because there are so many good kids that play the game anymore that go back to Hawaii with Virginia, whatever, that kind of stuff. Chaminade. That was like only like 1 out of 100. Now it's like 20 out of 100 have you can't. And you look at these and everybody's 11, 12, 13, and the big ones there aren't. Chris, tell them. I mean, how about the time like way back when they used to open up these things and there was like the 1 seed and the 16th seed was like maybe 33 points. Yeah. 33. And so now it's like everybody's 11 and 12, even the big dishes.
Well, you know what? I'm happy you brought that up because yesterday Duke was 23 against Georgia Tech, which, like you just said, in the past 33, 30 in the 16s. Yeah. I can't remember the last time other than UConn last year. I think close 28 against Stetson. Mm-hmm. Usually those 16 seeds now are about 23. Yeah. And it was like, whoa, wait a second. We got a 23-point line in a conference tournament game.
Georgia Tech covered pretty easy in that game, too.
I took the 23. There was one moment where Duke got it to 14, and I'm like, am I really going to lose this?
I was in the back screaming the same thing. Don't tell me Duke's going to cover this game.
But it's like that everywhere and everything that you do. And I personally think it's good when you have the competitive games, because it keeps everybody here all the time because, what can happen. And then, now there's, and you're not safe if you're taking 6.5 with 29 seconds. Don't think you're ready to cash that ticket yet. I mean, 1 3-pointer, then a foul, then obviously you're shooting to tie the game up here. So, but here's the sport that I like the best, the college basketball. Now, I know that things are different. I know that, what used to be is not the same as what it is now. But, I used to be glued to the television with the conferences and the NCAA tournament. But now it's quite different. I think maybe because I can't take all of these games, thrown at you or whatever. Like, what do you do? Then a couple outfits. I'll give them outfits because they were ahead of time. I'm going back 20, 25 years when they just zeroed in in a conference. Sure. I mean, just zeroed in. Nothing else was available. Nothing else. They could care less about if Duke was playing, whatever. But so you seen that, and that lasted about a good 5 years till we saw the same outfit. They would win big, and you look, and they'd only bet 10, 12 games the weekend, concerning that conference. So everything changes, and if you don't keep up with the news, kid, I mean, what you're going to do, you're going to be broke by Thanksgiving. That's for sure.
I want to ask actually both of you one other question here because this time of year, and Jimmy, you just mentioned it, if you got the 6.5-point underdog down by 4 with 29.5 seconds, you're sweating your behind off the last 29.5 seconds these times of the year. Do you see more players come in and just bet the first half in these tournament games because of that sort of scenario where, hey, also, too, a dog's more likely to play well for 20 minutes as opposed to 40 minutes more time than not as well.
No fouling at the end of the game.
Exactly.
No desperation threes, all that sort of thing.
And you'll see some I call them outfits again. Their thing is if they didn't like the big favorite or the dog early on, and then they go to the halftime, they're halftime bettors. Sure. And the in-progress betting has only given it to people who understand this racket more. So if it's like, again, it's quite different than it was. Now, call it like this also. Like there isn't a million guys out there just living off of making bad, we're making bad numbers here. But what I'm telling you is things are different. And you have to change. You can't be stubborn anymore because they're right in front of you. And they have done more homework on a game than you have. So they're waiting for a situation, and you're right. I mean, the 4.5 and 5s with a couple minutes to go, man. Don't even run up and cash your ticket. And you'll see some people getting ready to cash your ticket. You want to tell them, go sit your ass down. I mean, you got no choice, whatever. But he works too much. See, because first of all, he's nuts.
Tell Michael Gahn that.
Michael, he'd say, "What's the guy do?"
I know.
What do you like? What's your best sport that you like? I never really asked you.
College football.
College football?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love college basketball too. But the only thing is, because of the way the football season is, and as far as it extends, it used to be over late January. Now it's not over till the middle of February. It just takes me a while to get caught up.
Yeah.
On these teams. I don't want to even say I'm caught up yet. But Yeah, I'm getting there.
A guy was asking me yesterday, and I gave him my answer. It's just like simply, he wanted to, make a bet, on like a future book because the football's over with. And, we had the things that I think the kid got us ticket for $50, so I was actually standing there. Long time ago, if you wanted to, let's say the Super Bowl was over, there was no futures until August.
Right.
We didn't have anything on it. Yeah. And we found out we were stupid because we passed up all this small money coming in there for 6 months, which actually puts you in a pretty good spot because at least, you could maneuver when you get to September, October. But that's what it was like. There was nothing after those games. Matter of fact, we used to play poker tournaments quite a bit after Super Bowl Sunday until the March Madness thing. So whatever. Okay, I'm leaving.
Okay.
See you guys
I think
later.
so are we, actually.
I think we're getting ready to sign off ourselves.
Absolutely. Jimmy Vaccaro, everyone.
All right, Jimmy.
Chris, this is a fun time of year.
Yeah.
Next week, you guys are swamped next Thursday and Friday, so there will not be an afternoon show next Friday. Vinny, I know, will pop his head in on the morning shows on Thursday and Friday, so you'll hear from folks in the back, guys, over Thursday and Friday on those first 2 days, which are, Chris, they're my two favorite days on the sports calendar.
Yeah.
Hey,
Even
guys,
my wife, she's asked me, what days off are you taking? I says, honey, I have no idea. I really don't. I have no idea.
Chris, awesome, as always. Big thanks to the coach, Matt Furjanic, for joining us as well. Big thanks for Jimmy, the crew, Vince, Jerry, Ryan, Drew Dog, Sean, and everyone. Thank you as always. We are back tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. We'll get you ready for Championship Saturday in college hoops and a lot more on the docket right here. Sports by the Book. This has been Free Throw Friday.